Hi, everybody. So it is the start of week 2, and doing my session introduction. I'm going to hope to get an evening session of the introduction next week or the week after that. Trying to, rotate through so everybody gets a chance for some day sessions and some evening sessions. So this week we are moving on to arithmetic versus algebra. Basically, what is the difference between arithmetic, which is like adding, subtracting, and then algebra? So if my slide would advance, there we go. So that's what we're doing this week. So I'm going to start off, before I get into what you're going to be reading, I'm going to start off with some frequently asked questions. Based off of questions I've been getting this week, and then I'm going to move into the material and what you have to do, and then details on the discussion, the assignment, the quiz, and suggested schedule. So starting with the frequently asked questions that I have been getting. So a lot of people are asking, can I resubmit my work? The answer is yes. You can only resubmit assignments, so quizzes and discussions cannot be resubmitted. Do I have to type up my assignments? No. You can also submit work via JPEG or PDF. I do have specific details on how I want those to be formatted and saved, so please take a look at the course expectations link in the classroom for more details on that. And then lastly, how does Remind work? So reminds that thing at the beginning of the class when you log in. So any announcements that I send that go out to everybody will have the header MA104 October 2019. So if you receive a message and that's in the message, then that means this is going out to everybody. I'm not singling one person out. It's generally a reminder or some sort of notification. Any messages that are sent individually to you will have my name or have no header at all. So that's how you can tell the difference. When you reply to a message, it's only going to be sent to me, so they're not reply all, so you don't have to worry about other people knowing what you're replying to me. It's just between you and I. So we can use this as a way to communicate. You can reply to the message, and then I can reply back, and we can, communicate that way instead of email if that's preferred to you. So this week's material, I said, we're looking at the difference between arithmetic and algebra. And so we've got 2 sections that we're going to be reading, 1.7 and 2.1. So 1.7 is properties of real numbers and simplifying expressions. So this is where we're really starting to introduce you to algebra. And then 2.1 is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division properties of equality, basically where we start solving. So before we go deep into algebra, you need to get a small taste of what it is, what it means, and that sort of thing. So the big ideas we're going to be looking at this week are variables and expressions, knowing what they are, translating English into mathematics. That is something you have to do in the real world, because usually in the real world you're not given equations. People give you words and then you have to figure out what that means as an equation or what they were asking for. We'll be looking at properties of real numbers and properties of equality. So for this week, you have to do your discussion, your ungraded practice assignment, your assignment, and your quiz. So you have 4 tasks for this week, just like last week where you had 4 things to do. So let's start with your discussion. So your discussion prompt is going to involve some research. So step 1 is to do that research. So you want to research a mathematical symbol or notation. And I have some examples in the discussion forum or on the instructions. And some things you want to find out is basically, when was the symbol or the notation first used? Who was it that first decided to use this? Was it used for something different before its current use? Like, is the plus sign, was it used for something other than addition before it became addition? If you can, try to find an example or a picture demonstrating the use. I have seen some people find symbols that we don't use anymore, and if you have pictures of those, that's pretty cool. You want to make sure that you write down all the links to the websites you got your information from, because you do need to provide those once you start typing up your discussion post. So moving on to, whoops, there we go, your discussion post. So once you've done your research and you have information, you need to write a post that summarizes what you learned from your research. So you want to explain it like you're sharing with a family member what you're learning in math class. You should not be just pasting in from the web. You want to read it, understand it, and then explain it. So this is going to be coming from your brain and how you interpreted what you read, basically. And then always cite your sources. So at the end of your post, include the links that you wrote down when you did the research and paste all of those in. So that way, if somebody wants to see more information, they know where they can go. But don't make us hunt for things. Don't say you can learn more here. Tell us, like, or I saw that this was really cool, click this link to find out. Tell us so we don't have to do that. That's so you're demonstrating what you understood and what you learned. So you want to share with us what you thought was neat, not just make us go to the link itself. One thing to be very careful about is plagiarism when you're doing posts that require research. So plagiarism is defined in our student handbook as intentionally or carelessly, so that means it could be accidental, intentionally or carelessly presenting the work of another as one's own. So this includes if you share information without listing the references. And it also includes if you have references, but too much of it is similar or an exact match to your sources. So if you have references, but all of your discussion post was copied from your websites, that's still plagiarism because you have not demonstrated any of your understanding or learning. You are using somebody else's work as yours. So you need to put this in your words to make it your own. Oh, my slide does want to move. There we go. So if you need some help on how to avoid plagiarism, I have a couple links here. There is one article here that is about telling you what plagiarism is, and then another one on how to quote and paraphrase and how to avoid plagiarism. And there are also some additional resources in the Learning Center. There's the Writing Center and then one that says Writing Skills, and both of those will have some tips for you as well. So let's take a look at assignments. So you have your ungraded practice assignment. This is not turned in. There are some problems from the Chapter 1 test, and then there are some problems from the 2.1 practice exercises. If you need to know where to find those, the ebook does have a spot where you can type in page numbers, and that will help you get to the right location. If you're working through these and you need some help, you can attend a live session that I have scheduled this particular week. Let's see, looking at my calendar, I'm going over 1.7 on Friday at 2 p.m. So if you have any questions of 1.7, that's when to ask. You can also email me, call me, chat me, and you can also use tutor.com. So those are your resources to get some help. Your week 2 assignment is going to be very similar to the first assignment where you have 2 graded problems. And so you need to make sure you're showing your work. It's going to be graded holistically according to that rubric that we looked at last week. You can resubmit, but there is a 5% penalty, so just be aware of that. And then, as I mentioned in the very beginning with the frequently asked questions, I do accept things that are photos or scans in addition to Word documents. So you want to make sure you follow these requirements. Everything's in order, it's easy to read, it's a single document, and that will make it a lot easier for your work to be graded. Okay, so now moving on to your quiz. So your quiz for this week is 20 questions, but it is untimed. Out of those 20 questions, 6 of them are short answers. So for those short answer questions, you need to make sure that you're showing all work. There is a function in Editor. There is a button that you can click. It says FX, and that will allow you to enter in math into your discussion. So, or your quiz. So please use that button so that you can type up your math. And then outside of the 6 short answer, there are 14 multiple choice questions. The topics covered on this quiz are from week 2 plus some review from week 1. So you will need to evaluate expressions, translate from English into math and vice versa, identify and demonstrate the different properties, identify terms and like terms, identify expressions and equations, test solutions to equations, and identify linear equations. So wait to take the quiz until after you have gone through all the material for this week. That will give you the best chance for success. And now let's take a look at the suggested schedule. So I'm going to have to zoom in on this since it is awfully small. So let's take a look at the discussion. So since your discussion is research-based, you can start it right away. I do recommend that you do it in steps, do research one day, and then write your discussion post the next day, because that will help you prevent plagiarism, because you have some time in between from reading the material and then trying to write it. Definitely check your discussion prompt for grammar and readability. You want to make sure that we can understand what you're saying, so you have punctuation, capitalization, that sort of thing. For your reading, since there's only 2 sections, you can get those done Thursday and Friday, or if you want, you can move those to Saturday, Sunday, whatever works best with your schedule. I do have some additional links here and some videos that I recommend that you watch. And then I have mapped out some practice problems. I do have a little bit each day, even though you're not doing a section a day, because the best way to do math is to continually practice. So because these are just the odds, you have about 5 or 6 problems that I've set up each day. So that's really not a lot of practice problems, and that's manageable and will keep you continually working on the math. And then at the end of the week, make sure you have completed your assignment and your quiz, and make sure you get those all turned in. So if you have any questions, you can email me at this email address. You can give me a call. And hopefully I will see you guys on Friday at the live session. If not, of course, you will have the recording. And I will keep you guys updated when next ones are scheduled, and see you guys all in the discussions. So I hope you're having a great Wednesday. Everything's going well, and yeah, have some fun this week. Bye.